Hello and welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice for everything Nintendo. This is episode 135, being recorded on the 17th of April 2018. My name's Lewis Pugh, and joining me to talk all things Nintendo, we have Harrison Milfeld.
Yeah, hey everybody. This is going to be a short show because today's tax day and I haven't filled my taxes out right now. So, I kid. I actually had my taxes done. So, but hey everybody.
But it will be a short show. We have Colin Crompton.
Hello, it's not tax day here. We don't even have tax day. Tax day sounds like the best holiday of all time.
You guys don't have an income tax day?
We have tax day. You haven't done your taxes? Oh no. Oh no. Don't let people know that. No, don't worry. We have a Nintendo-related show for you guys today. It's not just about taxes.
Shame.
Well, is there a thing called a Nintendo tax?
There's a Switch tax.
Oh yeah, there is a Switch tax. I think probably with the cartridges. I think
Yeah, I think the Nintendo tax is essentially that games mostly, stay at full retail price compared to.
I think I know, or it has to do with their magical skill. I mean, if there's one thing they know how to do, it's their skills with compression and things of getting like all this stuff into like a Switch cartridge. I think that's where the tax comes in.
Yeah, I think it's less so than clever compression, but just good design. But that's a topic for another day. One I would like to visit, to be honest. Today, though, we've got some what we've been playing. We do have the Nintendo news, of course. And we have a super topic, one which is kind of pointed in Colin's direction. But it's also about E3. E3 is around the corner. Can you believe it? It's almost that time of year again. The most wonderful time of the year.
Amazing.
Well, we've got games. Some games to talk about. Harrison, you have no games to talk about?
No, I've been dealing with work, and the thing is, I have not been able to pick up my Switch or anything else for the last couple days. So, and that actually kind of led to a discussion with me. If you probably saw on my Twitter, is Waypoint had an article about talking about how games should not be really long, and I kind of agreed with it because remember back, remember back when we were kids, when we saw if a game was at least 20 or so hours or something like that, that was like my benchmark. I'm like, okay, that's a good value for a game. But as the older I got, and when you have more responsibilities, you realize, oh, I can't finish these things out to it. But I think what I'm trying to say is that I don't mind lengthy games. Like for instance, for the amount of hours I put in like Breath of the Wild, for instance, I mean, I never regret any of the 125 hours I put into it. But you would have to say, though, if a game gives you fluff or content that's forces you to do that fluff and content, that doesn't really justify its length and such. I feel like it should be more justifiable. An example that was pointed out to me was Celeste, exactly, which I still need to pick up, is that the strawberries that you have to collect in there, which I think, what are those, to get the extra harder stages, those are optional. But you're given a good fair price for what you get. It's just I don't know. I think what I'm trying to think what the article says. I like my lengthy games, but there's a compromise I think for everything like that. I mean, but also price does kind of factor into it because take for instance a game like Metal Gear Rising. I bought that at $20, and everybody said that was like one of the shortest Metal Gear games ever. And the thing is, I had a blast with it. So, but no, that was my rant on short games and lengthy games. And to me, that's. I try to tackle very shorter games in my backlog so I can just get that thing down before I tackle like say Xenoblade or my Horizons.
It's even for me. It's like I don't mind like medium-sized games. I like to have the option of like DLC. If I really enjoy a game, if I want it quite longer, I'll buy the DLC for it. That's how I kind of stand. I don't want really long games that take forever to finish. It just kind of. I hate things that drag out too long, or there's too many side bits to do, or I don't know. I like medium games. I don't want games that last like 5 hours. I like 15 for me. It's like the sweet point for games I like. I think Zelda's the big exception to that.
Yeah, and I think the overall thing when we talk about something like that is that it just deals with the content, but also whether it's worth it on there. I mean. And I've read in reviews where I said like, oh, I'm not sure the content justifies basically the price or the length justifies this price. That factors into something like that. But but games do have to kind of respect your time. I mean that's and I think games like Platinum, what they do, they respect your time, even though those are adventures that get out right out of the way. I mean, there's very few games out there I feel like that just you barrel out of the gate like a freight train, and they don't let up until the end.
Yeah, that's how they keep it going. I just realized I still like medium length games, and I realized I spent 3,000 hours in Monster Hunter, so
that's not medium length, is it? That one.
Slightly longer than medium, I think.
There's a few X's in the descriptive of the length of that game.
A little bit, a few X's, 4 or 5 maybe. Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, I think you raise a point, and this is kind of turning into almost a mini feature in itself.
Yeah.
Like a game like Monster Hunter isn't necessarily a big game to complete in like a traditional sense, but there is a lot of content there if you're enjoying what you're doing and you want to just keep going at it.
That is a fair point. Yeah, the actual story wise, it's about it's like 20 hours. Yeah.
Which. And I guess to add my 2 cents, as it were, is like Breath of the Wild was mentioned here, and that's a really good example of a game which it will let you get to the end kind of relatively as quick or long as you want to, and if you do it in a reasonable amount of time, you want more to do, assuming that you didn't 100% it in the first time round, which would be quite impressive. There's lots of stuff for you to go out and do, but it's definitely not. It doesn't pressure you into doing everything. It's not like one of these games where it'll like play on your mind or something that, there's still these like big things which you haven't done. You're like, no, I finished up my mission. I've done what I've needed to do here, and it's time to move on.
You would say, and I think that another game to say about that is you would say Super Mario Odyssey. I mean, it's once you finish that main story, which takes you, whether it's 8 or 12 hours, you still have all these moons to collect, and it's up to you if you want to get to the end. So,
yeah, a very good point. Yeah, I think Mario Odyssey is probably an even better example of that thing. Because you could see the credit to put the game down, and I've had a really great time with this game. But if you want to do more, you've really just scratched the surface. However, we do have some games to talk about which we've been playing, and Colin.
Yes.
What have you been up to? Have you possibly been playing a little bit more Super Mario Odyssey?
I actually have been playing Mario Odyssey. Now, so I'll link into it. Yeah, very quickly, I've been playing more Super Mario Odyssey. I've cleared the darker side of the moon, which has been the most eminently frustrating experience I've had with a Mario game in quite some time.
Were you streaming the game when you completed it?
I was. So you get to witness the absolute frustration that I go through. So Dark Side of the Moon, which is, I think you get 300 moons. It's just a boss rush mode, basically. You fight all the rabbit. What are they called? The bridles?
Yeah.
The broodals.
Broodals.
The bridles, broodals. But yeah, you fight all them, basically. They're slightly harder because you've got to deal with the moon physics, which is like...
You got the spacesuit on and it's 2D. Yeah.
It's just horrible. Spacesuit. So Darker Side of the Moon is one level. Just one level, but it's like difficulty set to extreme. It's
just the one stage.
It sounds simple. At one stage, it's like, I don't know how long it is. It goes on for quite some time. There's no checkpoints in it at all. And there's a ton of instant death sections in it. So if you make one mistake, you go back to the beginning. It is one of those, it's incredibly tedious. And what you get for clearing it is not worth it. Absolutely not worth it.
So is this basically worth it on the... Well, it can't be anywhere near... I've seen it before, but it can't be nowhere near as bad as when you get all 120 shines like in Super Mario Sunshine, where it's just like, hey, here's a photo.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's comparable. It really
is. It 3 moons?
It is.
There we go.
It's 3 moons, but you get a bonus.
Well, there we go. It's a bonus. What are you complaining about?
You get a cap. Should I tell you guys? Do you guys want to know?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it purple?
You get a cap that turns you invisible.
And as in, enemies can't see you, or you can't see Mario?
You can't see Mario. Everything else is still the same. People still react to you like you're there.
They will still chase you.
Pretty much. You are just invisible to yourself.
Oh, that's a pretty unique gift.
Pretty unique. But when I tell you that it took me 44 attempts at this one level, over 4.5 hours to beat this one level.
You got your invisibility cap.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
not
No?
worth it.
Not worth it.
Not worth it. Not okay. There you had it. Colin says it's not worth it to collect all the moons.
Not worth it. It's.
Should people watch your trials and tribulations trying to get the invisible cat?
If they want to see a guy have a mental breakdown on stream, sure.
Jeez.
It's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's the look. I think that's what all the top streamers do. To be honest,
It's just. I was kind of hoping it was like more. You get the "thank you for playing" thing, which you generally get in all like Mario games. Like, oh, a little hey, thank you for playing, and it's like that's it. That's about as excited it gets.
you've still got lots of moons to get potentially, as we were discussing.
There's no reason for them besides I want the costumes.
There's unique moons out there. There's puzzles to do, challenges to complete.
I have no drive to get the rest of the moons. After clearing this, I'm like, boom, just leave it alone.
You're not going to play it anymore. Your work here is done.
Yeah, you know what? I honestly, I'm pretty much. Yeah, I think I'm done with it. I think I'm done with Odyssey. I think it's out of my hands.
So now you've had this full experience. You're content. You don't need to play anymore. You've had your fill.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back on your time, how would you rate this game? How could you best describe
this
experience?
It's the most middle of the road Mario game I've played, I think.
And can you give us the two extremes, please? Best and worst? Context.
Yeah, we need context. Whatever. Where does this range? And this feels like this is more New Super Mario Brothers Wii territory in what you're describing, and I am not for that.
See, I'm thinking specifically in terms of 3D Mario games. I think in terms of pure, it feels closer to Super Mario 64, which to me isn't. I think Super Mario 64 is a good game. I don't think it's amazing by any means.
The explanation, the context.
It leans towards that. I still feel like Galaxy 1 is still a vastly more impressive game.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Sunshine is the best 3D Mario game, but I feel like Galaxy 1 is probably the peak in terms of like invention. I think that game is so clever with what all the physics and that it does. Mario Odyssey just kind of feels just like another. It just feels like
like another 64 game.
Yeah,
but we only had like two of them.
I feel like though for something, I mean for like. I get the point. I think you wanted more something out of this, but with the thing that really pushes it for me is I do feel like some certain level design could have been a little bit better. I like more of New Donk City, or even the final portion with Bowser's level, which is based off like feudal Japan. I feel like if there was more of those, I could see where you're going to. But to me, I felt like the option for what made it so good was Cappy's mechanic, and what that just opened yourself up not only to all these different characters and things that you can capture and do, but also the use of the cap itself for platforming expertise. To me, that opened up just more things to do. And to me, you were just had enough to do something. I mean, and plus with a game like that, if you saw something like in the area, it's like, oh, I can go do that. I could do that. I mean, a game for itself doesn't like slap your hand and say, no, you can't do that, which I felt like Breath of the Wild thankfully did, is like, hey, you can go over there and climb this.
Right.
Not to compare it too much as far as open world, but I'm saying Mario has your world here and sets it and gives it all thing to you. And it sounds like to me you were wanting something more that takes something a little bit further, like what Galaxy did. But even though I felt like that combined the aspects of what I'd say Sunshine and Mario 64, whereas Odyssey is an extension of Mario 64, but with the Cappy mechanic.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like my issue with Odyssey really it relies too heavily on the capping mechanic. I feel like, and people complain about
that's the point.
Absolutely, okay. I feel like people complain about Flood in Sunshine. Oh, it's just Mario with a water pack. He's doing everything with a water pack. It is, but there are times in the game where you don't use it. There are times in the game where you don't have the water pack. You have to do a platforming stage without it. That is never the case in Odyssey. You always
no. I mean, the thing is with Flood. I mean, in terms of scale, Flood's down here, whereas Cappy's abilities is right there, like the use, because you're getting more out of that. I feel like.
True, I guess, but I mean, if you're delving into the whole possession thing, then totally, absolutely. I just, honestly, it's still good, but
Okay, it's good. That's what we say. We're not going to chastise you. We're just asking questions here. We're just like, why? That's all we need. I mean,
we're just trying to like uncover a mystery. It's
yeah, just peek
for scientific
inside,
purposes.
peek inside your brain and such. Just no.
Peeking inside my brain.
Yeah, so it has a lot of Monster Hunter and all that jazz.
I wanted to add something in from the live chat. While it's still present, Mr. Cyan from the chat apparently claims that Colin now has a box full of grey hairs from the darker side. Is this true, Colin?
I was just told I had a grey hair when I got a haircut about a week ago.
Oh, that's scary times.
A patch of grey hairs, but that beside the point. Anyway.
And you immediately say, "But I've not played the darker side once. How could this be?"
I think it was just there for a while. I was probably frustrated with some. Maybe it could have been the Diggernaut boss from Samus Returns, which, of course, that frustrated the heck out of me. So
I don't think about that boss. I still need to play Samus Returns. I need to get on that. Yeah, Lewis Pugh was there. He is present for at least a part of the my struggle against this level, so he knows what I went through. He knows.
He knows the pain.
He does.
He's seen the suffering.
He has seen the darker side.
Ooh, I like it. Cool. Can you give us a little peek into what future games may be for you, Colin? Is there anything you've started playing or you have on the horizon?
See, now I'll go into my next game, which I'm very briefly going to cover this. I have started a new Pokemon randomized run.
Ooh.
Yeah, but this time I cranked up the random factor to maximum potential. And
what does that mean, Colin?
What does it mean? Okay, so normally I just did it with like they shuffle the items, they shuffle Pokemon's locations, they shuffle trainer Pokemon. It's very tame stuff. I didn't mess with it too much. This time around, I thought I changed everything. So we got Pokemon that don't have their standard typings. We have evolutions that should not happen. It's basically madness. So just to give you like a little inside look, my 3 starters I could choose from was a Sea King, that's a Steel type.
Okay. Oh, all right, yeah.
Which is intriguing. A Silcoon, which was a Rock type. Which is not a Bug type, but and the one I chose, Tentacruel, that was a Dragon type. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. That's pretty cool.
All right. What seems to be confusing me now, like, it almost seems so random that it kind of loses any sense of. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, like, for example, do these Pokemon learn the moves they would usually?
No, the move sets match the typings. So it does follow. So my Tentacle does learn Dragon moves now instead of, so it follows that pattern. The one where it just kind of breaks. I mean, Pokemon is it's a cool thing. What breaks it really is the evolutions. The random evolutions do break it. Now I've not evolved anything yet, but from what I've seen, because I've watched videos of this, so normally there's a maximum of 3 evolutions in any given chain, correct? You got start, middle, end. Now there can be up to 8.
Ooh.
A Pokemon can evolve up to 8 times. Now, I've not seen it, but that's going to be interesting. And so I could have, as an example, a Water-type Pikachu that evolves into a Water-type Entei.
Okay. And will that Water-type typing stay true?
The typing carries over.
Okay.
So it doesn't completely mess up the game entirely, but it does mess with your head a bit when you fight a random wild Pokemon that clearly looks like a rock, but it's doing thunder moves to you. It's like, what the heck is going on? But it's fun. It really is good fun.
Awesome. So have you done much into this run yet?
I've beaten the first gym.
Okay.
I should say what the game is. I answered the game is. It's Pokemon White's version 2, which the title version 2, like, kind of confused me because I've never played it before. I never played Pokemon Black and White before. I kind of thought, oh, version 2, so is this a remake? Because it's version 2. But no, it's actually a sequel.
Yeah, it's strange. I even forgot the word version was in there.
Why the word version then? I was like, I mean, it's the same region, but
I don't even remember that word version on the box. It probably was there, a little small print then.
But yeah, it's on touchscreen, so I'm guessing.
Oh, fair enough.
But yeah, so that's
That's
basically that's what I've started off on going through. Yeah, fun times.
Is the goal to complete it, or just see? Oh, it is.
Yeah, absolutely. The best part of any randomized run is the Elite Four, because they're either ridiculously strong, where they got all legendaries, or they've all got Cappy. It's like, well,
Binary choice. Fair enough.
But it'll make
So what
me
it comes down to at the end.
But it's funny. It's just funny. But yeah, it's fun.
All right, I'm going to jump into something I've been playing.
Ooh.
Oh, well, please do.
I think I'm trying to think if I've talked about this game before on a previous show. The game is Cave Story.
You might have, but I'm
not recently.
No, not for a while.
Because this game has come out now on many systems. Most of them are Nintendo systems. I'm not entirely sure what the connection is there, really. But Cave Story Plus is on the Switch. It's been on the Switch for a little while now. In fact, it came out not too long after launch, if memory serves. However, it was on a sale over here.
Ooh.
And so I picked it up again. And
because it was on sale. That's the reasoning.
Oh, that was a big driving factor. Like,
I get to save some money.
It wasn't a new release. And so I was just looking through the shop, and as you know, in these digital stores, you look at the sales tab, and you're what about this game? And that's not a bad discount.
I'll pick this up.
But it looks nice in that Switch screen. And it does. I wanted to check, though, because it's been so long since I've potentially talked about this on a podcast.
Okay.
Sure, it's happened.
Yeah.
What are your guys' backgrounds with Cave Story? Have you played?
I have no background whatsoever with Cave Story.
Okay.
I have not played it, so no.
Colin,
I'm embarrassed on this one. I've not played it at all.
you've not
Ever.
not played the
Any of its myriad of forms. Never.
No, not even that weird 3D remake.
I was going to say that
On the 3DS?
Yeah, no.
Fair enough. Well, this is like a lot of indie games today. Yet another one of these 2D inspired pixel graphics, Metroidvania games.
It could be up my alley, but I just never have.
Yeah, but this is
too
oddly kind of like the origin of the indie inspired remake of the genre. I can't think of any other examples. I'm not saying it's the first one, but it's definitely in that ballpark. It's definitely kind of aping a lot of what modern indies are attempting to do.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things I like about this version, I'm not sure it's the first time this feature's been involved, is it has local co-op.
Woo!
Which is cool, as in, like, this is a Metroidvania game, and it's a weird thing to start the conversation with. But I do think that is a differentiator. So it is fun to play it with, like, a local person. And so the game itself is... we use this term a lot. What's a Metroidvania game? It's a game when you're in usually a 2D platformer in a somewhat big open world where you're encouraged to go off in different directions, and you'll get certain abilities which will allow you to uncover more of this world and do more.
And there has to be an element of backtracking in there somewhere for it to qualify as a Metroidvania. Okay,
that seems fair. So yeah, this game ticks all those boxes. But what it also does, it tells its story in an interesting way. There's a lot of this nowadays, but it was much more of an interesting point when it originally released, which is it just drops you into the game. It doesn't tell you who your character is or why they're there, and you uncover these things just by speaking to people or seeing things that happen. It's not a very text-heavy game at all, but there is text. You can talk to characters. It is very.
There's a backstory somewhere.
There is, yeah. It's very charming in that sense, and but kind of the core of the game is really how it plays, and you have this nice big jump, and this is usually like a bad descriptive, but it's quite a floaty jump in the sense that it's just like the gravity's just really turned down low. It's very like precise though. Which is like the main thing you got to put with that word floaty. So yeah, it's got this like big jump to it, and it's also you have a very quick like fire button, and so you can shoot either left or right, whichever way you're facing.
Okay.
And so it does feel like a 2D shooter.
I was going to say, yeah, sounds very shootery. Right.
And so there are times where there is lots of enemies on the screen, and you kind of doing that shootery thing. But there is also just lots of genuine platforming, and also just working out where you actually need to go and what you need to do.
So is there a map system? Well, that must be a map system somewhere.
That is a very good question. Probably something I should be using more. There is a map.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not keep going back to a big map screen though.
Right.
So I'm kind of just more organically exploring. I need to double check that. I should probably explain what my background is of this game, because it's a game I've always been interested in.
Okay.
But I was
going to ask you how many times you've bought this game now.
I think this is just the second time I bought it.
Okay.
I say just. But I've not beaten it. I've already got further on the Switch version than I did. I think it was the Wii version that I played.
Wow, go back a few years. Nice.
True. Which was, I think that was even called Cave Story Plus when that came out on WiiWare.
Wow.
And like that was differentiated because like I believe this is still available for free because this was originally a free game. And they have since done like revisions to it. They've like redone the sprite work, and it's very faithful to what it was previously, but it's just it's more clearer now. Obviously it looks nice on a big widescreen. And another interesting point is like you can tell like throughout its different revisions they've had like different soundtracks and such, because in the options screen you can basically just set any of the soundtracks as the one you want to use.
Okay.
And there are two like graphics modes option, like there's original graphics and basically like plus graphics where the
slightly higher quality graphics.
Yeah.
Pixel art though, it's going to be very different. Like the difference will be minor.
It is minor differences, but it is like cleaner and sharper. But if you want to play that original version, you can, and you can actually. You're not locked in. You don't have to be like, oh, I want to play in original mode or plus mode. You can, I want this soundtrack with original graphics or new graphics. You can mix that up, which is cool.
Options.
We like them. That's our motto.
That's apparently only one. If there's a voice shirt, that's going to be the first one.
It'll be in the first run of shirts.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And this is a bit weird to say, but playing it 2-player local co-op, I was thinking, like more games should be like this, and it made me think of my own game for the Wii U, Twisted Fusion, because like that, this is what it was going for.
Okay,
it didn't hit it, but this was it.
It struck a chord of inspiration. That's what you're saying.
Well, it kind of did, and it didn't in a way, because I mean, I never beat it.
Okay.
Previously, so it's not like, oh yeah, this was a game which like set the blueprints for it. It's funny in its similarities in that sense, because I'd only played it so little, yet I thought it was an interesting concept. But originally it didn't have any of that local co-op in it. It's something which has been added, but it works. Yeah, it's really cool. I'm liking Cave Story so far. I'll give another update when I beat it, or when I get.
I was going to say, do you reckon this is the time you're going to beat it then?
I reckon so.
Cool.
It's also, like I mentioned with a bunch of Switch games, it's a good one to, I have played it on the TV and I have played it in portable form, and it's good for both depending on what sort of mood you're in. But it's also a game where the graphics do suit that small screen well. Like it really does. It looks sharp. It pops. Yeah, and it plays well. So that's cool.
Cool.
That was the only game I had on my list. But I've been playing some ARMS.
I was going to say, are there any hidden extras here?
There's a little hidden extra, very small hidden extra. There was a party crash. So I played some ARMS.
Who was in this one? Who was in this one?
It was Min Min and Kid Cobra, I believe.
Ooh.
Was it Kid Cobra? Let's refer to the Switch. The Switch says... No. Switch says Helix. It was Min Min and Helix.
Okay.
Min Min won, 55%. What do we get? We get some badges.
Oh,
there we go. A little picture. That's nice. Got some new badges. That's cool. Like the little touches. Live reactions. We've also been playing more Splatoon 2, as you do. I think I mentioned it in the last show that I'm actually trying to aim for specific gear abilities. I played so much Splatoon and not even worried about that, but I'm going for them now. And I'm slowly getting towards that goal. It's good to have life goals, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having unique gears or unique ability to the gear I got from my little Splatoon Go amiibo when I put on the NFC sensor. I think that's a noble goal to have.
I think one of my goals is to avoid playing ARMS again.
How are you doing in that goal?
I'm succeeding.
You are.
Well,
Nice.
I'm just going to burst through your house
We have a breakthrough.
with arms. And
No.
and you'd be like, no, you've ruined my goal.
I'm all right.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's what I say. Yeah, but I'm fine. I don't need arms in my life.
You don't need arms in life. All right, fair enough. We can that could be the decision. You don't need your arms. Fair enough. I'll take them from you. It's a simple choice. Maybe you'll reconsider. Go fine. I'll play some arms
just to keep my arms.
to keep my arms.
Oh dear.
But if it was a real decision, I wouldn't be playing. Anyway, I think it's only appropriate now we jump over to the Nintendo news, and we do have some cool stories to go through. Or at least some interesting ones. We've got a conclusion on a long-running saga here.
I was going to say slightly controversial, maybe.
Controversial? I'm not sure. Maybe.
But I would say slightly.
Slightly. Yeah, I would say slightly. So the story we're alluding to, and we should probably put a little bit of background to this. If people are just jumping in, then you would assume most people watching us would know this story and generally, but basically, there was a guy called Billy Mitchell.
This guy, right?
Yeah. So have we all? Yeah. The Billy Mitchell. Yeah.
Yeah. If you've not heard of the Billy Mitchells and his hot sauce, yes, you say it was hot sauce, right?
Yeah, I believe that's his venture he does.
That's what he does. But on the side, he plays video games for high scores, and he's in the Guinness World Records for some of his gaming achievements. And I think more well known is his I can't remember the name of the site now. Twin Galaxies, I believe, host his high scores for many games, including Donkey Kong. And the reason why his name has kind of become fairly well known, at least in the gaming community, is there is a movie called King of Kong, which is
it's phenomenal.
It's a good movie. I'm trying to think of what you call it. It's not
It's
I guess it's a documentary.
Yeah.
And it follows Billy Mitchell and Steve Weeby. I think that's how you pronounce that.
Steve Weeb, I believe, is that how you pronounce it.
No B. No need to put the B on the camera.
Weeb and Weeb, like Weeb, or as in the internet, Weeb, whatever. Sorry, just remember.
So those two were battling out for Donkey Kong high scores, as in the original Donkey Kong arcade game. And so that brings us to today. And Billy Mitchell has been banned from submitting new scores, and I guess more importantly, all of his scores for all of his games have been stricken from the records over at Twin Galaxies. And the reason why is that after re-reviewing some of the footage used, it has been confirmed that he wasn't using the original hardware, which is required, but was using MAME to emulate the games. Now, on the face of it, so what? Can you guys tell me, why is that such a big deal? He's playing the games. What's the problem?
I think I believe it's like what Twin Galaxy has a bit of a strict policy of things when you actually want to do that it has to be a very original form, original form cabinet, because when you have something that's a bit of emulation, there's always that fear of it's being tampered with.
Well, the thing about emulation is, I don't know how much people say, emulation is never 100% accurate. So there's always slight variations in some form of the gameplay or anywhere. Some of the frames might be slightly different.
Well, in the documentary, when he had sent in, he brought home like a Donkey Kong arcade cabinet, and when he broke the record and recorded it, which, by the way, it's pretty hilarious because in the background, whatever, when he's doing it, like his then infant, like a little kid, whatever, is begging him to help him out, whatever the background. He's like, oh no, he was on the verge of breaking it, and he ended up doing it, but beside that, but then it was disputed because of what I want to say, because the cabinet that he did when they inspected it, I had to rewatch it, was that
I think
the boards were different. The circuit boards were very different, and that's what kind of told them, like, yeah, they got to take the score away. But it's been a while since that. So basically, the movie makes it like to the point where it's this battle between Weeb and Mitchell, and Mitchell being this long-time gamer for somebody who is known from like the arcade cabinets and retro scene, was basically just shown as this villain. And now and with this right now, it turns out, wow, he actually is the villain in this case.
Yeah. So I've got my own points to add here of why him using a MAME emulator is such a big deal here. And like on the face of it, it doesn't seem so much as yeah, there are differences. Yeah, it doesn't run perfect and so on. But you can obviously do things with a MAME emulator, which obviously you just simply can't on original hardware. Like a simple thing you could overlook is the ability to pause the game.
Indeed.
Which is a big factor. Something very simple like that. So you could, because when you're competing for, competitive high scores, like part of that is purely like the endurance at it. You not only got to be good at the game, but you've got to be good for a long time. Yeah. It's very different, like playing a game in like half an hour chunks, having a pause, having a rest, going back to it, opposed to just having to do this thing in a single run. Yeah, so that's kind of point number one. And also, like you can have save states.
Yep.
Which you combine with those things. So you could, all right, I died. Let's go back 10 minutes, carry on from there. Yeah. And that's very easy to fudge in a tape recording, as it were.
You just edit the bit out and you just keep easy.
Which well, actually does kind of bring up a part of the King of Kong movie, which is that there was actually a dispute of one of the videotapes in that movie.
It was the one that Mitchell brought in to get the record, and it was like one that he had. Like it almost seemed like he saved it just in case.
Yeah, and I think the problem that they had at the time, where there was a bit of the video where it kind of skipped. It was very short, but there was a distinct. Oh, that frame is different to that. Like something cuts out. And they just kind of let it pass because of Billy Mitchell's reputation. Like that, he was trusted, he was well known. So all right, fair enough. We will accept this sort of thing.
Right.
And like this kind of puts into like, well, maybe it was something like that. Maybe it was just on a MAME emulator, and it was paused, or it had used a save state at that point. So yeah, the conclusion is. All the scores being removed, and it has some kind of weird, like, rewriting of history. This because now Steve Weeb has been given the title of like the first person to score that million-point score in the original Donkey Kong.
Mm-hmm. So it's essentially delayed justice almost for him, but
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting when you look at somebody because when you look at Billy Mitchell's history of how like that's essentially what he was. Aside from selling hot sauce, what he was the majority of his life. He was this imposing figure in that type of scene, and now he's going to be remembered for basically just this type of thing. I'm not trying to feel sorry for the man. I mean, to me, it's like things happen like that.
I mean, honestly, though, regardless of what everyone thinks of him, he's a hell of a hand at Donkey Kong. Regardless, he's good. But
yeah, yes, like you still need skill to do that. But that doesn't mean you are, the world's best or you are that particular ranking.
To be fair,
you can't do like direct comparisons in that sense. But yeah, I admit it. I was going to use probably here. Let's just go and say he's a better Donkey Kong player than I am.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he used an emulator. He doesn't know how to play Donkey Kong. But
well, no, I do specifically
bad boy, basically naughty boy.
No, but there was a point in time I think when Billy Mitchell, the Cartoon Network show, regular show, they had a character on their name. Garrett Bobby Ferguson, and he looked almost exactly kind of like Billy Mitchell. And Billy Mitchell was so petty about it, he sued like the creators for it, but he ended up losing it.
Sounds all right.
Yeah. I think that covers it. To be honest, I personally, I kind of really want to rewatch King of Kong now. With his context, I think if we go back to revisit it.
I know that Billy Mitchell did make a response to it, but it's all just based on denial. I'm just denial.
I saw his response. It sounded very scripted.
Yeah,
I don't know about you guys.
I'm not going to read out word to word or anything, but the basic response was that he disputes the claims. He says he will be able to provide evidence proving that what he did was what he did on original hardware. I'm not sure where this evidence is going to come from. I don't know why, if he has it, it's only just, coming to light now.
Yeah. Well, he has to make the evidence first. So,
there we go. We're using our heads.
He has to make.
But yes, Mitchell does refute these claims. But we shall see. Maybe it's not the end of the saga. Maybe there will be some lost tapes uncovered,
or a new documentary
with the new documentary, and yeah, Billy's name will be back in the good books.
I doubt it, but okay, maybe.
All right. Strange change to plan. Harrison, would you be able to take on the next bit of news?
Yes. Well,
back in a mo.
Yeah, but Lewis has to go away for a second. So anyway, next bit of news that we have here is that Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild picked up a few BAFTA awards over the weekend. Unfortunately, neither did pick up Game of the Year. Honor went to a game which I really am interested in trying a little bit. It went to What Remains of Edith Finch. The awards that, if I can get the list on here, the awards that Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild took home was Mario Odyssey took home Best Family Game, Best Game Design, and Breath of the Wild took home Best Game Innovation. So,
which is interesting, the innovation one, because Breath of the Wild's a very good game. I mean, it's an outstanding game.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it does borrow a lot of ideas from other open world games.
I feel like there's a case to say that, but I feel like it takes essentially, and I mentioned, I don't want to spend too much on it as far as Breath of the Wild, since we waxed so much about it for the past year. And is that, yes, you're going to get the argument people who do take the ideas, but I feel like it's like they take those ideas and they just refine them so more. I mean, whether it's like, climbing mechanics, I feel like that's a very important thing that took it such a step further. And but it's essentially Nintendo just telling like, oh, we took these Western sensibilities and development of these type of games, and guess what? We just turned it up a notch to it. Yeah. And to me, that centered around that, it was really, truly, I still feel like it's truly an achievement for that series and the right stepping stone where the series needs to continue to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Mario winning Best Family Game. I always feel like Best Family Game is kind of a bit of a cop-out award, but that's fine.
It's whatever. I mean, comes to it or whatever, but
It is what it is. Yeah.
All right. Next piece of news, though, there was a Sega convention over the weekend, Sega FES 2018 in Tokyo, and Sega made a few bit of announcements, and one of them was Sega Ages, which is them bringing their classic games to Switch at the beginning of summer 2018. Now, the Sega Ages is a label to basically the Switch eShop worldwide. So essentially like what we saw with, I believe, on 3DS titles like Sega 3D Classics in the same way. Now, more than 15 titles are going to be in the line for this, which still includes Sonic the Hedgehog, Phantasy Star, and Thunder Force 4. Yeah. The games will be developed by M2, who also actually did program the Sega 3D Classics games for the 3DS. So
they did a great job too. So
yeah, I will say though, having Gunstar Heroes on my 3DS was probably one of the better decisions I did to buy that, because I really enjoyed that game.
But that's just one of the better life decisions right there, man. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, got that. Now, I do believe in this news, whatever, and like they, I forgot who was mentioned about this, but it was like Sega wants to bring actually more Saturn and Dreamcast games to the Switch in the same branding. So
see, Saturn's very limited on classics, like classic games, but Dreamcast I'll be totally up for. Like if I could play Crazy Taxi on the Switch, it'd be amazing.
I'm trying to find the guy, the producer, who did point this out though, because if you're gonna get some Saturn games on there, I mean, if it's like Panzer Dragoon or like no,
Yeah.
I said Panzer Dragoon Orta, that's Xbox. Which, by the way, that just recently got a backwards compatibility update for Xbox One. So if you have that game, please pick it up. Yeah, but I'm trying to find this on here, but there's plenty out there to find out there. Saturn, though, I think the obvious thing you would want on there is, I was about to say Sonic CD, but no, that's Sega CD. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking on there. So but yeah, these are part of these on here. But this also raises the question, though. What does this mean actually for the Virtual Console? Now, I don't want to dig too much deep into this because when this was announced, you had at least a minority of folks that were just getting really, really, really worried whether like, oh, does this confirm it's dead, whatever. But really, did we get full confirmation whether as far as it's happening, or is this mean that it's just you're getting your classic games regardless? It's being rebranded.
Yeah, I kind of feel. I just feel like I think the Virtual Console will be a thing. Maybe it's not ready. They're not ready to show it yet. I don't know. It's an interesting little kind of a situation because yeah, sure. Why once it's announced? By the way, all these games, Virtual Console, it's back. Here it is. I guess the infrastructure's not there yet for it. That's the only thing I can think of.
No, and I don't read too much into something like that because I think in the end, it's not really specifically announced, but you know, there's still a market probably for classic games. But even though I feel like now with how much the eShop is flourishing with some of the titles, I forgot a video that I read about this is like the state of how Virtual Console is that maybe Nintendo wants to wait so much because there's look at what the flourishing of indie titles in the eShop right now. You know, you don't want to disrupt that for a moment to let it build, and you know, let everything else out in the wild.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely. And to be fair, I mean, Sega's done these kind of collections before, quite a few times actually. they do this very often. So I mean, they did like Mega Drive classics back in the day, because on PS2, things like that. Yeah, it's so. I mean, I'm not too shocked about this, but it's cool. I like that they're acknowledging their name as well. Sega Asians. Just Sega. It's just Sega backwards.
Oh yeah, that is what it is.
That's what it is.
Oh jeez. Well, did you also hear though that Sega did announce a Mega Drive Genesis mini console? So they're taking a page out of what Nintendo is, but with a slight little difference. There were no there was no games announced, especially for right away what the lineup is. But one troubling thing that did come out of it was that this is being developed by AT Games, which have been responsible for various other plug-and-play games.
Titles. I had one.
It's
called Firestorm, I believe. It's called Reactor. The Reactor is a just weird branded thing in the UK. I found it in the supermarket chain over here for like £25. That's like $30, probably a little more than that. And it was abysmal. The emulation on it was terrible.
Oh yeah, I've heard sound and everything like that is just not really up to par.
The sound wasn't great, and when you scrolled, there's like really bad V-Sync issues. Like it was just like a rush job. It looked really sloppy, and it was like, come on, you know, like try.
the way you say it's like just try, just do something.
Yeah, it was abysmal. It was. So I'm not. It's a shame too because I really did enjoy Mega Drive. I think Mega Drive's an amazing system, but yeah, they need to like.
Yeah. And for everybody who doesn't know, AT Games was responsible for a bunch of these different other plug-and-play games. There was one like I think I saw from it was like it was a portable Genesis essentially, and a lot of the sound, if you see from like even like Sonic the Hedgehog, it is very muddled down to a point where it's unbearable to listen to.
Yeah.
So it is, but they say that they're going to do something better with this, but I don't know. I mean, I'm glad for people who grew up loving Sega and had a Genesis, or even furthermore, like for Sega kids back in the day that have something like this. But I feel like when you hear something's developed like this, you know, you deserve better. You really do. And but I was like during this whole Sega FES I was wondering though we were going to be getting more on this supposed new Sonic racing game we're going to get, which has only been teased a little bit more.
No idea, but maybe E3. I don't know. Every time I hear it's like, oh, we're going to hear about something new, it's like, well, E3 is coming up, so probably then. I don't know.
Well, meanwhile, though, that's a good way to segue into our next one because Lewis is back.
Lewis is
So,
back.
yes,
Hello. Lewis
yes.
is back.
Well, but I will be marking right here where you need to actually start talking right now. So there you go.
Did you just reveal to the audience that this is a pre-scripted show? That was a bit of a
Yes.
slip up.
Yes, it is a pre-scripted, I'm sure. Okay, yeah. You're acting like I'm Jim Ross or Jerry the King Lawler where I have my
That'd be the most closely guarded secret of the Nintendo Voice thing. We're going to be this.
Oh dear, the notes have been revealed. My God.
Dun, dun, dun.
Jeez.
We have a plan in place before we record. Who knew?
All right. So I've come here to talk about some Dark Souls, have I?
Apparently,
Some disappointing Dark Souls news.
Oh no!
It's a bit disappointing, really. The Dark Souls remastered and its accompanying amiibo has been delayed.
Dun 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 dun.
That's the dark news.
The dark news.
Is it the Dark Souls of delays?
The darkest. Yes, but it's been delayed from its previous date of May 25th to a bit more ambiguous summer of 2018.
Just summer. Yeah. It's not good. It's not good, guys.
Because this was going alongside, the Dark Souls Remastered isn't just like a Switch thing. It's also coming out to the other systems which had Dark Souls originally. But those versions haven't been delayed. It's just the Switch version. Those ones are right on track. They're all fine and dandy. My suspicion is, I'm wondering if surely it's not just because there was some sort of delay on the amiibo.
Now, that is highly likely. I feel like that is highly likely.
I don't know how much to believe in that.
Well, it's the only thing that, so far we know that's different from the other versions. So,
power of hardware.
Dark Souls is when did it come out originally?
The first one, about 2011, 2012.
I mean, basically the same time as Skyrim, right? So
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't matter. It's a 6 to 7 year old game. It can run. It can run on Switch, no problem.
It can, but I think this is a remastered port of it. Whether it's like its frame rate, things with its frame rate. I think they want to make sure something's improved upon and everything's working on a it's working in handheld mode or even docked mode because.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that is a technical hurdle in and of itself.
And I've heard the same thing, whatever that's been going out of PAX with Wolfenstein, the new Colossus, which it runs fine. It just there's definitely some things in there. Probably if it was released at its current rate, there would need to be some patches. I mean, it's playable, it works in there, but it needs some little bit of work.
Yeah. I guess it is better to delay it than have I don't know if you guys know about WWE 2K18, like how the Switch version is basically completely broken. It doesn't work at all. Because it has like major performance issues. It's better to delay a game and actually get to run smoothly than release it in its unplayable form and be like, oh, yeah, we'll patch it later. But still, everybody who wants to play this would have got it for the other systems.
Unless you're a Switch owner, I don't know.
Unless you're purely a Switch owner.
I mean, if you hadn't played it at this point, I don't think the delay of a couple months.
Yeah.
Would...
I mean, well, here's the thing. Like, what's the one thing that entices you to actually get something if you've never played it before? Especially if you own a Switch and you have these other systems. What entices you? The portability factor. That's what gives you to it. I mean, that's its main selling point for you, Colin, when it comes to it.
I mean,
that's why people there's a reason why you saw people buy Skyrim again a lot.
Yeah, but there's a difference. Skyrim you can save wherever you like. Dark Souls you can't. Dark Souls is not a portable game.
What have I pressed the home button?
You can put it in sleep mode, but then it's not the same.
Was it too quick for you?
Well, no, too quick. Yes, it's too convenient. How dare they? No, it's. I don't know, for me personally, I couldn't play Dark Souls on the go because it's not structured that way.
It's structured in the fact that you're just because of its difficulty, or just because of it looks.
Because of its system, the save system inside it.
Well,
you go for a long period of
time. I can understand.
And the boss fights themselves last for bloody ages. So it's I don't know. I don't think it's as the portability factor of that game is going to be a selling point, but I could be wrong.
What happened to our T-shirt worthy slogan, Colin?
We like our options.
Yeah.
What was the slogan?
We love our options. Surely
We
it's
love our
not
options.
bad.
Yeah, we love our options.
We
Yes,
should
I
have
know.
all games over to the Switch and people can decide.
Well, is that our T?
How do you want to play?
Is that going to be our T-shirt for our Patreon supporters? Like it's like Nintendo Voice. We love our options.
Could be one of them. Yeah.
It'd
In
be
the
amazing. In the works. Coming soon.
It works. We got things going on behind the scenes. Things are brewing and developing. And
There's the T's. Let's say no more.
all right, fair enough.
When do we? Yeah, this is But this is expected. They said summer 2018.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Until the next delay happens.
Maybe a summer release.
Maybe winter 2018 or something. Like, what the hell's going on, guys? Yeah.
Plus Flood Edition. There we go. That's how you sell it.
Yeah.
All right. Our last piece of news. Theme parks.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Apparently.
They are fun. How about a Nintendo theme park? Wait a minute, we've done that news before. The Super Nintendo World, as it's known, in Orlando has been delayed.
Or it might be. Sorry,
Might be delayed. I don't have the full details on that. Well, I do have. We got some speculative details, at least, on the Pokemon theme park, which may be coming.
Ooh.
Let me take a snippet of this article. I should cite my sources.
Cite your Satan. We show prep it.
We turned into Wikipedia.
This is purely when I'm getting lazy and I'm just purely going to read someone else's article, so I should probably give them credit. NintendoLife.com. So, according to a report from Florida TV station WFTV, Universal Studios is expecting to launch a Pokemon park as soon as 2020. The information comes from the channel's news anchor, Jamie Holmes, who, along with the theme park university blogger, Josh Young, has spoken to numerous sources inside the company who say Pokemon is indeed coming to Universal Orlando. This new Pokemon Dreamland is expected to be added to the Kids Zone section alongside Woody Woodpecker and Barney.
Pokemon Dreamland sounds like my worst nightmare.
I'm sure that that's existed in one of the games, at least. Some sort of
something.
Kids-focused Pokemon park.
If Detective Pikachu's there, then life isn't worth living anymore.
He won't. Detective Pikachu will not be standing alongside Woody Woodpecker and Barney. He will be in the.
He'll be hovering over your bed. He'll be hovering over your bed, Colin. That's what's going to happen.
No, man, that's scary.
But no, but this is rumored still, and apparently in the whole process, because we already know the Super Nintendo World in Japan, that's already under construction right now, and they're trying to get that out for the where's the park? Oh, Osaka is it's like they're trying to get that built for the in time for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
That's right, yeah.
And here in the States, it's I believe Universal Orlando, they've actually purchased more land to give out these separate other parks, because in the process of this, I've heard that they want to expand more to the Harry Potter world, and they want to put a Lord of the Rings like a theme park area with like Hobbiton and Rivendell, which I think that would look awesome and from the conceptual stages. But this one, I think they might be delaying it more because of the land they purchased, because it might be just bigger than what they imagined.
That's not fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Who's looking forward to one of these?
I am. I want to go. It gives me more. Once it's built there, it's one of those. As a big Harry Potter fan, can't believe I've been down to Orlando to visit that yet. But coupled with this, that pushes me out the door where I just go by myself and see it. So
that makes sense. However, I'm going to ask the same question to you, Colin. Are you excited for the Nintendo Worlds popping up around the world?
I mean, if there's one local, I'll go to it. I can't see how.
That's a fair and quite a large factor.
I mean, I've been to Disneyland Paris, and it was okay. So, I don't know. I'm not a huge theme park guy. It's all right.
Maybe because we don't have huge theme parks. We have theme parks.
We do,
but not of the scale of the Florida parks and such.
That's true. I don't know, it there's a Monster Hunter theme park. I'll go to it.
I feel there might have been some sort of Monster Hunter
In Japan.
thing in Japan at some point.
That's a long way, Mel.
It is a long journey, but
Yeah.
it is Monster Hunter, so
It's worth it.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a tricky one because I mean, obviously, I'm excited for the prospect of it, but it's whether it's going to be that close enough to home type thing. From what we hear so far, not really, and then it comes down to whether it's worth the trip. Which, to be fair, it probably would be. In a way that, obviously people go to Disney World, like, or as in go to America to go to Disney World who aren't from America.
Right.
And you make an event of it sort of thing. And it would be cool to do something like that for Nintendo. So in that sense, yeah. And also, I think it would just be cool knowing that it's a thing in a weird way. Like, it's such a move you would have expected Nintendo to have done during the NES and the Super Nintendo era.
Yeah,
like,
and
all right, we're making a Nintendo theme park for all our big characters, and it's cool that this is happening now in a weird way.
Yeah.
Now it has a legacy. It is, it has a history to it, opposed to it's just this. It's the next fad. It's kind of cemented itself next to these other huge characters and attractions.
No,
Anyway,
and the whole idea of it's just a great thing to think about.
Cool. And apparently we'll be earning some sort of points for our Nintendo accounts.
Yeah.
When we do. Remember that?
So we can get all my platinum points will get me ahead of the line for that Mario Kart ride for that one time.
Maybe.
That'd be terrible.
It turns out it's a line ride. I'm just like, what is this? It's a line ride. I'm like,
each attraction has its own Nintendo coin digital currency, which you earn.
No.
Like how every app does, but every single attraction does.
Exactly.
You get your Mario Kart
coins or
tours are gonna be the phone app. Whatever it be called.
Yeah.
It will have some currency. Yeah, it's going to cover the Nintendo news for this week. And we do have a super topic for you. The way the super topics work is that we have a Patreon. And on any Patreon level, you can submit super topics. And super topics can be as simple as a question to us, or they can be a bit more elaborate. It essentially is a block of the podcast of your design. So do with that what you will within reason. And we've got some more questions come in, so thank you if you have submitted some super topics. And if you've not yet, please do. If you're an existing Patreon member, please do just check out the latest post and chuck us in a question or a feature for us to do on a future show. Much appreciated. And if you're not already, please do check us out. It is patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. And you can support the show, and you can also lend the show your own voice. There we go. Our super topic for today, though, is from Jonathan Cruz. Thank you again, Jonathan, for submitting all your lovely super topics. Today, though, the question is, what needs to happen at E3 for Colin to have zero salt on the matter? To give this question more depth, maybe have the other two go to guess, not ghosts, thankfully. Guess what
ghosts
would need, and then lastly have Colin correct them on how wrong they are.
Okay.
Because I've read the question, I feel I get to get Harrison now to guess. Harrison, what would really make Colin happy of an E3 announcement? And I don't think it just has to be one. It could be a collection of things. It could be like things not being announced. What would
things not being announced?
Nothing being announced. I don't know. Just
games which aren't portable coming to the Switch or what?
What's that?
A Detective Pikachu port. No, no. What really needs to happen, I think, for him, if I had to guess right now, and to me, it's just we all here have our different likes and dislikes of things of what would come with Nintendo and such, but and it doesn't feel far to pick on Colin here, but for the sake of argument,
okay,
if I'm going to say
we must do what the Patreon members tell us to, though. Remember?
Yes, they are. We must bow to them. They are our masters. So we are, but I don't mean that in derogatory sense, but
What,
it
to
is
us?
no to us. Yeah. Jeez.
You just called them. They're the masters.
They're the masters.
I guess that could be. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
No, but anyway, anything Monster Hunter related, or I could say something that's a current third-party game that doesn't come months or years afterwards, which to me, trust me, if they announce like Resident Evil 4 came to the Switch, I'd be fine, just so I can have that on my tablet, because Resident Evil 4 is awesome.
Yep.
Now, anything Monster Hunter related, GTA 5 finally coming to the Switch.
I think you need to get a bit more specific on that Monster Hunter one.
Red Dead Redemption 2, I think, will come, like something like that, or a remaster of that. But specifically a Monster Hunter, not necessarily Monster Hunter World, but I would say a localization of Monster Hunter Double Cross.
Ooh, he got it. I was gonna say, if you said Monster Hunter World, I was like, you're wrong.
No, but that's my guess. At least I got one. What about you, Lewis?
All right, so I think Monster Hunter is stricken from the board, so I have to come up with something else, something creative.
Like original.
First, let's give a joke answer. Not that with nothing but serious answers here. But the immediate apology and removal of any material or physical media related to Detective Pikachu.
Of course.
I think if they just that's how you start the show. Yep. You come out with that. We were wrong. It was a rubbish idea.
They would have to start the show with just Pikachu just being killed, and that's it.
Like brutally taken down, and this would be how you introduce the next game.
Would that mean the Detective Pikachu movie is canceled too?
Yeah. That's part of the that's short, but very powerful opening. Is that yes? That movie is cancelled as well. Let me think. So. Another little one here. So I think, and it's something you mentioned at the beginning of the show. So you like your Pokemon games, and this is quite a literal one. Okay. So I'll add another one in. But if there was either a collection or just you could get these piecemeal. So the original Pokemon games, or all Pokemon games as such, where they are. They give you the ability to customize them in terms of the randomization, other aspects of it. And I guess to make this more of a thing, like it wouldn't be restricted to Pokemon. And so I guess this would be built into their new virtual console. Okay. Is that like they've seen like this is a way these games are played now on the internet. Like very certain examples, like Twitch plays Pokemon got very big for a while, so they definitely heard of this stuff, and so maybe alongside like the announcement that you can now stream, natively from the Switch, I think that would be a bonus for Colin for sure.
That'd be awesome.
It's like they're going to lean more into these sort of features, and with certain virtual console games, they will have official randomizer support in there. You can, play it on the Switch, and like their angle is going to be is that obviously you're buying the game direct from them, and so they get the money. They want you to, feel good about your purchase. They don't want you to, play the game on an emulator on another system, and so they're going to bake some of these features in.
Okay.
That's me one. I'm going to come up with another off the dome.
But with the streaming though, isn't it like natively with the Switch you can't necessarily do it because it's not powered enough to do it?
It would be a technical issue. Definitely with the Switch, yeah.
I think it's doable. I think, like, on a platform level, it has the ability to record video as you play without disrupting it. So I don't think it's, like, obviously you need more power than that to stream it.
Maybe it has to deal with something that it has to remain in docked mode to do that.
Possibly that, or it would have to, the stream would have to be 720p, no higher than that, because I think 720p and 1080p streaming is, like, that's a huge technological leap. So,
I mean, yeah, maybe it's kept at 720.
That's fine.
Can't
agree with that.
Yeah. Trying to think of a more off the wall suggestion here. Dead air, eh? Always
Dead
good on
air,
a podcast.
yeah,
This is just
Glorious.
The thing I love about podcasts is when I'm listening to someone thinking about something, and that's what I'm doing here today.
Brilliant. Marvelous.
All right, now I'm going to have to come back to you on the
Fine.
further suggestions, but yeah, I think I got there with the streaming part. I was going to leave it there with the Pokemon Randomizer game.
I'm only going to take one of each of your suggestions. So,
Okay, that seems fair.
Double Cross. If Double Cross got localized, absolutely no complaints from me whatsoever. The only complaint would be was why is it taking you guys so long to do it? Can I just say, like, I'm a fairly positive guy. I don't think I'm that salty. What's going on in the world? We had a question
it's
going.
more of a modern trend. I don't think you've always had this reputation.
I think people need to accept the fact that I can be brutally honest.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think I'm salty. I think that's brutally honest. Anyway, so yeah, what's that Double Cross? Absolutely love it. Randomized Pokemon is an odd one
It is.
because I'm not big on remakes. I'm not big on remasters. I'm not big on things being done for another run through. Even though it does have these bells and whistles, I think it'd be better if Pokemon was.
Please. That's all we're doing.
It's not that simple. I think you would need to start from
Yeah,
scratch.
that's what you want. But we're making a new Pokemon game. We got it in the oven still.
Yeah, I know, but it's not going to be. I want a Pokemon reboot. Is what I want. I want them to scrap the 700 on Pokemon they got. I want them to go start. Okay, we're starting over. It's a brand new 150. Forget the others.
New 150, not the original 150.
No,
really. No, and I think one thing that'll make you happy though is that the Pokemon game that they're giving to you is you still have the generations that we've known and loved, and a new generation that comes into it. But its design is completely overhauled. So
my ideal Pokemon game is one that doesn't have a story.
Doesn't
have a story. Pokemon doesn't need a story. You're a 10-year-old that collects things. Are you
still a 10-year-old in your dream Pokemon game?
Well, technically, my favorite character in any Pokemon game was the main character at Colosseum because he wasn't 10-year-old.
What if it was done? What if it was done that way though? Colosseum.
Be interesting. It'll be interesting. If that became a full-fledged Pokemon game, I'm all in. Absolutely. So, yeah,
So where do we turn this? Is it on the Monster Hunter side?
Mostly. I mean, that's like my dream game. Obviously, Double X looks so good, and we didn't get it. And I was so gutted about it. I mean, I can buy it for Switch if I wanted to, but I also need a translation from Japanese to English, which is kind of sucks. Yeah, if I got full translation, boom, E3 win.
All right, how about this little bonus one?
Oh.
On the stage at Bethesda, the next entry in the Elder Scrolls saga is announced.
Okay.
Switch version, day and date, and holiday this year. Same feature set.
It's on par with the other versions. Absolutely on par. Everything is.
I mean,
on par, but with some limitations as far as visual.
What you would expect.
Yeah, we've got to be realistic about this.
But complete feature set, and even chucking a little bit of amiibo functionality. Not great amiibo functionality, but it's in there.
That's not going to win any points.
They take it away. No amiibo functionality.
No, yeah, God.
No, that wouldn't
No,
make me too happy. And here's the reason why. At least for me, the Elder Scrolls series is like on the downhill trend for me. I enjoyed Morrowind, the third game in the series, the most. I think that's my favorite one. Oblivion was good, but it was less fully featured skill-wise. Skyrim is a great game, but they've taken so much out of the series. If you go back to Morrowind, Morrowind's got way more stuff in it than Skyrim has.
I'm just going by your play history. It's your most played Switch game.
I know. Absolutely. I'm not saying Skyrim. I know
data to work with.
At no point did I say it was bad. I'm just saying, compared to the previous game in this series, it's not as good. Yeah, I would have to see it. I would definitely have to see it. But
so yeah, to be honest,
I don't think.
Please, Colin, not really much work needs to be done. The game is made. It's mostly localized.
Yep.
Because it's an expansion of an existing game.
Someone wants to send an email to Capcom and be like, "Hey, before it's one guy happy, could you localize this one game, please? Yes, thank you. Be nice.
It seems strange how it's not happened yet, because I was expecting it would come eventually. Like even after Worlds type thing is like, all right, yes, we just pop.
I think honestly that's where it kind of World, because World's been a huge hit. Yeah,
very much so. Yeah, it's their best-selling game ever, isn't it? Or launched at least.
I'm pretty sure they don't want to like sully anything by going back to Double X. But okay, let's got more focus on X and get more World content out there.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, I can see that in terms of like taking up like their marketing efforts.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they want to be posting like posters, pictures and videos of Double Cross on their Twitter feed where they've got lots of people playing World who don't care about this game, and they look at it.
Well, we go back, yeah, because World changed the whole like structure of Monster Hunter, so it's nowhere near the same game. And it's.
I hear mixed things in that. I hear like, oh, it is actually very similar to that old system, and yeah, oh no, it's completely changed.
Take it from someone who's played most of the games in the series, they changed it a fair bit. Okay. It's very streamlined, I would say that. Very streamlined. So.
Cool. All right, Colin, you've kind of given your preferences here. Clearly, the Monster Hunter Double Cross is what you prefer, but what would you choose for yourself?
So we're talking ideal E3 scenario.
Yeah, ideal E3 for you this year. It like doesn't have to be realistic. Like if the things were put in motion, companies became friends and all that. What would you like to see?
That is a challenging question. It really is.
And like you can excuse a lot of like, oh, like I won't say the next big Zelda game because it's not that far off from Breath of the Wild. But that, bars are off at this point. Oh, it could have been Rockstar making it.
Honestly, if I heard that Nintendo was actually going to do something with the Eternal Darkness license, the IP of Eternal Darkness, I would definitely be intrigued. Because that is a series that needs to be revisited at some point.
Would you like a hard reboot of that thing, or like a number 2? Or
I think at this point it needs to be a hard reboot because it's been so long since the original. If they're saying that's a HD remaster, I wouldn't be interested.
Not interested in HD remaster?
I mean, if it had to have a whole new like fear system.
Oh no, it has
new sanity effects, but
yeah, it would. Yeah, if you're doing a HD remaster, you would.
You can't do the whole. Oh, your TV's acting weird. You'd be like, I'm playing on the Switch.
That's true. Yeah, that would be hard to put off just because there's so many different TV interfaces today.
That's right. Yeah, but something like that. Something unexpected. I like unexpected things. I like.
To go along that train of thought, Mr. Cyan from the comments is suggesting that Colin wants Wii Music back for the Switch. That sounds surprising.
Oh, absolutely. No.
Would that please? No, okay, sorry. Let's try harder, Mr. Cyan.
That was abysmal. I didn't even play Wii Music. So
it's got Labo support this time, apparently.
It does? What?
We can have
this is coming from Mr. Cyan here.
How riveting.
The Switch version of Wii Music will have Labo support. Just in.
Wow.
Okay, that hasn't sold.
No.
Okay.
Not even close to being sold.
Man.
All right.
Is that negative? That's.
I know it's fine, but here's what I say about this. It's hard. I like it better. It's hard to find to see what. It's easy. It's nice to see when you're not sure what they like or they don't like, but I don't like when I realize, oh, I know that person would not like that. Like to me, that's just it's hard for me to know what I don't like. I mean, it's like not that I don't like everything. It's no, there's things that I just don't. It's just for you. It's like I'm trying to think what. It's like friends like, hey, oh wow, this new game's finally getting an extra life on the Switch. Whatever. It's like I'm like, it's cool if you don't. It's cool if you don't care. It's cool if you don't care. I mean, it's cool if you don't care, but it's like there's people there who from a business standpoint, this was released on the Wii U, so.
No, that is true. But I've never been a fan of remakes or remasters or anything of that description. All of that being said, one of my favorite games is the Resident Evil remake, so that's a little bit contradictory. Yeah, it just has to be done right.
But with the announcement then of remake number 2 heading to Switch, would that be
Ooh,
good?
that has been rumored heavily.
Well, it's been confirmed that, well, not for Switch, but they are remaking Resident Evil 2 in some fashion. We haven't seen anything from it.
Yeah, no, I don't really care for much Resident Evil 2. So,
okay.
I think this is quite comprehensive. I was tempted to ask Colin and delve into myself what our dream E3s be.
Oh, that's actually a good scenario.
It's a good scenario, but we've not been asked yet. So,
can I quickly ask you now?
if you quickly jump onto patreon.com.
Oh, there we are.
There we go. Yeah, I've just reminded myself that Resi Remake number 2 is a thing, and I'm excited for that. It wouldn't be my dream game, but if that was announced for the Switch, which is a possibility.
It's a game we played 20 years ago.
I'm confused. Is that meant to not make me excited for a remake?
Well, I'm just kind of interested in why we were excited to play a game that came out 20 years ago.
Did you enjoy Resident Evil Remake on the GameCube?
I did. About 20 years ago, though.
It did, but I think it was at that point when I replayed it, I realized, these controls and scenarios need to finally change for the series, and thankfully we got that with 4.
I still like the control. I recently played Resident Evil Remake. It still holds up.
See, I mean,
he's got other controls in it now, but
the whole thing with the tank controls, like Resident Evil 4 has tank controls.
It does, just different camera perspective.
Different camera.
Oh, different camera perspective. Okay, I think
which makes a big difference.
I think that's a difference as far as it fixed pre-rendered background.
The camera just happens to be with you this time, so it makes it.
You know what he meant, Colin. No need to get.
Yes. No need to.
Pedantic or anything. I'm just saying. Wow. It's not technically. I don't know.
Well.
That's comprehensively covered. So that is going to be our super topic for the week. If you'd like to submit your own, patreon.com/Nintendo Voice. But that does wrap up the show. So what we do once a week at the end of a show, we'll go around, we'll give out our contact details if you want to get hold of us for whatever reason. No nefarious means, please. And
nefarious means, yes, please dox us and whatnot. I don't care.
Right.
No, seriously, no.
All right.
Like, how should I have to clarify? Oh, actually, I don't.
Retracted.
I realized what are the demands. I came and I'm like, oh no, don't do that, please. I've seen.
Don't do that. Don't even think about it. So yeah, we do that, and we let you know what else we've been up to. And Harrison,
yes,
where can the fine Nintendo loving people of the internet get hold of you from?
You can find me on Twitter at @hmilfeld, and if you want to be my friend on Switch, I have my friend code pinned to the top of my Twitter profile. And of course, if you want to read me any more, I'm over at purenintendo.com.
Awesome. And yourself, Colin?
Well, firstly, I'd like to remind people that I am a genuinely positive guy. I'm not like super negative or anything. You can find me on Twitter at HighlyandBard. Since I'm going to interject there. Never mind. My friend code on the Switch is also pinned to the top of my profile. You can find me streaming on mixer.com/HighlyandBard. You can actually go back and watch me almost start crying after beating Super Mario Odyssey's Darker Side of the Moon. Yes, it was that bad.
Get to see the fear of everything happen.
It's horror, man. Pure horror.
If you want to see the horrors, I think I do want to see the horrors.
Go check it out. It's
where do I go, Colin? Where do I go?
Mixer.com/HighlyandBard.
There we go. Okay. Thank you. Okay, and for myself, if you'd like to get hold of me either on Twitter or Instagram or pick a random service, the name you need is Leuvision. And the way you spell that is LEUVSION. I don't have anything extra to plug. I think I've said the Patreon link enough times this week. So that's going to do it for this show. So thank you once again for listening. And this has been Nintendo Voice.
Take care, everybody.
See you later, everyone.